Before we begin, I need you to pause for a second. If you woke up today and scrolled through social media seeing panic about Congress passing some brand new immigration law, and you're terrified because you hold a green card, wondering if your status is about to vanish, if you need to file something urgently, if your rights are disappearing, if everything you've built is crumbling, stop. Just stop and take a breath. Right now, across every platform, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, chaos is spreading everywhere. People are screaming that green card holders must act today or face deportation, that Congress just signed new laws to strip your permanent residence, that USCIS is revoking green cards without warning. Families are panicking, communities are confused, and honestly, almost all of it is misleading, taken completely out of context, or just flat out false. I'm George, and you're watching DreamVisa Updates. This is the channel that cuts through the noise and gives you actual facts about what's really happening with U.S. immigration law right now. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what Congress actually did or didn't do. I'll explain what it means for your green card, what has legally changed right now, and most importantly, what you actually need to do, if anything. So stick with me until the end, because this information could literally save you from making a huge mistake out of fear. Let's answer the biggest question first. Did Congress actually pass a new immigration law that affects green card holders? Here's the truth. It's more complicated than headlines make it sound. In America, for any bill to become law, it has to jump through multiple hoops. It needs to pass the House. It needs to pass the Senate. Both chambers have to agree on identical language, and then the president has to sign it. Until all three things happen, nothing is law. Nothing is enforceable. Nothing changes your immigration status. That's it. It's that simple. So when you see breaking news claiming Congress passed something, ask yourself these questions. Did only the House vote on it? Did only the Senate vote on it? Did both chambers pass the exact same version? Has the president actually signed it yet? Because most of the time, what's being reported as breaking news is actually just one chamber passing one version of one bill that still has a very long road ahead. Now, what's actually happening in Congress right now? Over the past several months, there have been multiple immigration bills introduced, debated, amended, and voted on, some focused on border security, some on asylum procedures, some on visa backlogs, some on employment-based immigration, and yes, some have language that could affect green card holders in very specific situations. But here's what you need to understand. The vast majority of these bills have not become law. Many pass one chamber and die in the other. Many are purely symbolic votes. Many are messaging bills that legislators vote on for political reasons, knowing they'll never become law. Even when a bill passes both chambers, it gets stuck in conference committee where lawmakers have to reconcile differences between the House and Senate versions. This can take weeks, months, or sometimes never happens at all. So what is today's viral news actually referring to? Based on recent legislative activity, there are a few possibilities. The House or Senate may have passed a bill related to immigration enforcement, border security, or visa reform that mentions green card holders in very narrow circumstances, like green card holders convicted of certain crimes, green card holders who obtained status through fraud, or green card holders who abandoned their residence by living outside the United States for extended periods. Another possibility is that a budget bill or defense bill included immigration provisions as part of a bigger package. Or, and this happens constantly, someone took a bill that passed a committee, not even the full House or Senate, and reported it as if it's already law. Let me be crystal clear about something. As of today, December 2025, the fundamental rights and protections of lawful permanent residents, green card holders, under U.S. immigration law have not changed. If you hold a green card, your status is still governed by the Immigration and Nationality Act, the same law that's been in place for decades. You still have the right to live and work permanently in the United States. You still have the right to travel internationally with proper documentation. You still have the right to petition for certain family members. And you still have protections against removal unless you fall into specific categories that have existed in law for many, many years. Now, what are those specific categories? When can a green card holder actually face removal? This isn't new. This has been law for a very long time. You can be placed in removal proceedings if you're convicted of certain crimes, aggravated felonies, crimes of moral turpitude under certain conditions, domestic violence, drug offenses, firearms offenses, serious crimes. You can face removal if you obtained your green card through fraud or misrepresentation, if you become a public charge under very specific conditions, if you vote illegally in a U.S. election, if you abandon your permanent residence by living outside the U.S. for too long without a re-entry permit, or if you engage in certain national security activities. None of this is new. None of this changed this week. Sometimes Congress modifies the list of deportable offenses. Sometimes they change the definitions of certain crimes. Sometimes they adjust the waiver process or increase enforcement priorities. For example, a bill might expand what counts as an aggravated felony, or it might remove certain discretionary waivers that previously allowed immigration judges to cancel removal in hardship cases. These are significant when they happen, but they usually affect people in very specific situations, not all green card holders across the board. So here's what you need to do right now. First, stop panicking based on headlines. Second, verify whether any bill being discussed has actually been signed into law by the president. You can do this by visiting congress.gov, searching for the bill number, and checking its status. If it says passed House, it still needs the Senate. If it says passed Senate, it still needs the House. If it says presented to President, it's waiting for a signature. Only if it says became law with a public law number has anything actually changed. Third, if a law has been signed, read what it actually does. Most immigration bills are hundreds of pages long and affect very specific populations. Just because a bill relates to immigration does not mean it affects you personally. Fourth, if you're a green card holder with a criminal record, if you've been arrested, if you have prior immigration violations, if you've spent significant time outside the United States, or if you have any concerns about your status, this is the time to consult with a licensed immigration attorney. Not a notario, not a visa consultant, not someone on social media claiming expertise. A licensed attorney who is a member of a state bar, and preferably a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. An attorney can review your specific situation, tell you whether new legislation affects you, and advise you on protecting yourself, like applying for naturalization if you're eligible, which would make you a U.S. citizen and eliminate most of these concerns. Fifth, if you're a green card holder with no criminal history, no immigration violations, no fraud in your application, and you live in the United States and haven't abandoned your residence, then in all likelihood, nothing about your status has changed or will change based on typical legislative activity. Your green card is still valid, your rights are still protected, you don't need to rush to file anything, you don't need to panic. What you should do is stay informed through reliable sources, and this is critical. The only official sources for U.S. immigration law and policy are uscis.gov. That's the official website of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. State.gov for visa information, ICE.gov for enforcement information, and CBP.gov for border and entry information. If you want to know your case status, you check the USCIS case status tracking system using your receipt number. If you want to know about new policies, you check the USCIS Policy Manual or the Federal Register, where all new regulations must be published. If you want to know about new laws, you check congress.gov. You do not rely on social media posts. You do not rely on viral videos. You do not rely on screenshots of alleged government documents posted without a source. Now let's address some specific rumors that spread constantly whenever immigration legislation makes headlines. Rumor number 1, green card holders will be deported if they leave the country. That's false. Green card holders have always had the right to travel internationally. What is true is this. If you stay outside the U.S. for more than 6 months, you may face questions about whether you abandoned your residence. If you stay outside for more than 1 year without a re-entry permit, you will likely be found to have abandoned your residence. This isn't new. This has been the rule for decades. If you need to travel outside the U.S. for an extended period, apply for a re-entry permit before you leave. Rumor number 2, USCIS is going to start randomly revoking green cards. That's false. USCIS cannot revoke a green card without cause and without due process. If USCIS believes a green card was obtained through fraud or that the holder is deportable, they must initiate removal proceedings in immigration court. You have the right to a hearing. You have the right to present evidence. You have the right to appeal. This process is governed by law and regulation, and it does not change based on one bill passing one chamber of Congress. Rumor number 3, green card holders need to re-register or file a new application. That's false. Once you have a green card, you do not need to re-register unless your card is expiring, in which case you file Form I-90 to renew it, or unless USCIS sends you a specific notice requiring action. There is no general re-registration requirement for green card holders. If you receive any communication claiming you need to re-register, verify it directly with USCIS because it could be a scam. Rumor number 4, new laws will make it harder to renew your green card. Possibly, but unlikely. Green card renewal is generally a straightforward administrative process. You file Form I-90, submit your documents, pay the fee, and receive a new card. The only time renewal becomes complicated is if there's an issue with your status, like a criminal conviction, abandonment of residence, or fraud. If new legislation tightens criminal grounds of deportability, that could affect some renewal cases, but it would not affect the vast majority of green card holders who have clean records. Rumor number 5. Green card holders will lose access to public benefits. This one is more complicated. There have been multiple attempts over the years to restrict immigrant access to public benefits. Some states have their own rules. Federal law already restricts green card holder access to certain benefits during the first 5 years after obtaining status. New legislation could further restrict this, but any such restriction would need to go through the full legislative process, be signed by the president, and then be implemented through agency regulations. That takes time. If you currently receive benefits and are concerned, speak with a benefits counselor or immigration attorney. Now let's talk about what you should actually be doing if you're a green card holder. Number 1, keep your green card valid. If your card is expiring within 6 months, file Form I-90 to renew it. Do not let your card expire. Even though your status doesn't expire, an expired card can cause problems with employment verification, travel, and other situations where you need to prove your status. Number 2, if you're eligible for naturalization, seriously consider applying. To be eligible, you generally need to have been a green card holder for 5 years, or 3 years if you obtained your green card through marriage to a U.S. citizen. You need to meet physical presence and continuous residence requirements. You need to be able to speak, read, and write basic English. You need to pass a civics test. And you need to be a person of good moral character, meaning no serious criminal history. Once you become a U.S. citizen, you have the full protections of citizenship. You cannot be deported. You have the right to vote. You have the right to hold a U.S. passport if you're eligible. Naturalization is the best protection against any future changes in immigration law. Number 3, keep records of your travel outside the United States. Every time you leave and return, keep copies of your boarding passes, passport stamps, and entry records. If you're ever questioned about abandonment of residence, you'll need to prove how long you were gone and why. Number 4, avoid any criminal activity, no matter how minor. Even a misdemeanor can trigger immigration consequences for green card holders. Do not drive under the influence. Do not get involved in domestic disputes that lead to arrest. Number 5, do not vote in federal elections. This is a crime for non-citizens and will result in deportation. Some states and localities allow non-citizens to vote in certain local elections, but federal elections are absolutely off limits. If you're not sure, don't vote. Wait until you're a U.S. citizen. Number 6, keep your address updated with USCIS. Green card holders are required by law to report any change of address to USCIS within 10 days of moving. You can do this online at uscis.gov using Form AR-11. Failure to do this is a violation of immigration law. Number 7, if you're arrested for any reason, immediately contact an immigration attorney. Do not speak to police or immigration officers without an attorney present. You have the right to remain silent. Use it. Tell them you want to speak to an attorney. Do not sign anything you don't understand. Many people have been tricked into signing voluntary departure forms or admitting to things that led to their deportation. Let me also address the Canada and UK connection briefly because immigration news in one country often causes concern in others. If you're following IRCC updates for Canada or Home Office updates for the UK, understand that each country has its own immigration system, its own laws, and its own processes. A change in U.S. law does not directly affect Canadian permanent residents or UK visa holders. However, policy trends do sometimes spread across countries, so it's worth staying informed about all 3 systems if you have ties to multiple countries. Finally, let me remind you that this video is for general educational purposes only. It is not personal legal advice. Immigration law is complex and every person's situation is unique. If you have specific questions about your case, your status, your eligibility for benefits, or your risk of removal, you must consult with a licensed immigration attorney who can review your individual circumstances and give you advice tailored to your situation. Here's what you need to take away from this video. First, immigration law does not change overnight based on one vote in one chamber of Congress. Second, your green card rights and protections remain the same unless and until a bill becomes law. And even then, most legislation affects narrow categories of people, not all green card holders. Third, do not panic based on viral headlines or social media posts. Verify everything through official government sources. Fourth, if you have any concerns about your status, especially if you have a criminal history or complex immigration history, consult with a licensed immigration attorney. And fifth, if you're eligible for naturalization, Consider applying because citizenship is the ultimate protection. If this video helped you, if it gave you clarity and calmed your fears about what's really happening with immigration law, subscribe to DreamVisa Updates right now because this is the channel that will always tell you the truth, cut through the noise, and give you facts instead of fear. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Share this video with anyone in your community who might be scared or confused by the headlines. And leave a comment below telling me what immigration topics you want me to cover next, what questions you have, or what concerns you're dealing with. I read every single comment, and your questions help me create content that serves this community. Remember, accurate information is power, and you deserve to know the truth about what's happening with your immigration status. Thank you for watching DreamVisa Updates, and I'll see you in the next video.